Gopal, founder and the CEO of Brongo. Previously, before Brongo, I used to be running a real estate consultancy business. Prior to that, 10 years of experience in financial industry. Brongo is India's first technology platform or a broker aggregator tool where we are aggregating all the local brokers for the convenience of the end user or property seekers. A property seeker can find his or her property through a local broker. The thought process is that today, if a property seeker looks for a property online, right, 70 to 75% of the listing is from a local broker. And there are stats which also says that close to about 80% of the transaction, especially when there is resale and rentals, brokers are involved. So we thought, why don't we empower the local broker, put them on a platform called Brongo, and let them connect directly to the property seeker, who in turn should be able to find their dream homes very quickly. We guarantee 3 things to the end user. You will find your broker to location-specific broker under 60 seconds. Each and every broker is background verified, so you don't have to worry about who you're dealing with. And last but not the least, we also do not share your mobile number or your credentials to the broker to ensure that your privacy is not invaded. So, Brongo, the reason why we thought a platform for brokers is important is because today everybody requires a local broker, especially the Indian real estate, because Indian real estate is very fragmented, and for us to find the right property, we definitely need a local broker. Now, a local broker, as much as he's wanted, he's also neglected for the reasons of commission and the way his behavior, or the way clients deal with them, especially when it comes to paying the commission. So Brongo is India's first platform which confirms commission to the brokers even before they start working on a deal, right? So on the platform, users are requested to accept the brokerage terms and conditions, which they'll have to pay at the end of the transaction, which is what all the brokers are looking for, or which is what it'll help the local brokers to go ahead and get on the platform. Some of the other benefits for the local broker is we are reshaping the entire brokerage industry, digitalizing the brokerage industry in India. So if I'm a local broker, right, there are a couple of things that I look for. One is the commission, which is already confirmed, and this happens even before you get connected to a user. 2 is, I could be a local broker, but I may not be aware of what's happening around my location. So what Brongo team does is it educates the broker about what's happening in and around by tying up with builders, giving them project feeds, and letting them know that this is the supply which is available so that they can match the client needs appropriately. Mind you, apart from our stock or our inventory that we are planning to share it with the broker also have their own inventories. So it becomes a very powerful tool for the end users to get connected to a broker, because the chances of closure is much higher and at the shortest possible time. Okay, so that was a very, very good question. So why brokers in a day and age where we are trying to avoid brokers? Some of the stats that we looked at it even before understanding the pain point in the Indian real estate was, okay, if brokers are not required, then why are they getting involved in so many transactions? 75% of the listings are again from brokers online. Then 80% of the transactions is supported by brokers, or brokers' involvement is there for the closures. And it is a 15 billion industry which is growing day in and day out. So, that's the reason why we thought, brokers are there and we all require them. Only reason is we need a platform to enhance the ecosystem that they're working in. So some of the concerns that we have, or some of the concerns what users would probably have to work with the brokers are, okay, I work with a broker, he doesn't come on time, he doesn't give me relevant properties, it's basically there's no kind of a backup for him, I work with him so much. I work with one broker, he shows me 10 properties, then I work with another broker, he shows me pretty much the 9 properties or the 10 properties that I've already seen. So Brongo, what it does is, first, it gives you a platform to get connected to a genuine local broker. By the way, what we do is, and this is something that nobody's done this, right? We restrict brokers to work in only few localities, or we call it as a micro markets. Once you get connected to a broker, we don't share your number, right? So that gets taken care of. 3 is, once you get connected to a broker, then you get to work with him, right? See properties that you're interested, not interested, and worst comes to worst, let's assume you don't like a broker, you can always ask for a backup broker. What Brongo team does is, they speak to the broker who you've already been working with and try and see if we can get a backup. Once a backup broker comes, he takes it from where the previous broker left, understands what you've seen and not seen, and goes ahead and gets the deal done. One other important thing, and it's the most important thing, is performance management for each and every broker. At the end of each and every transactions, or in the middle of the transactions, if you want, you can go ahead and rate the broker, review the broker, so that the future customers see that and accordingly choose to work with the broker. So what we realized is, in the past 5 years of brokerage experience that I've had, right, every broker's got his top 3 priorities or strong areas. So in Brongo, we allow local brokers to work only in 3 micro markets or locations. They could be very strong in entire Bangalore or a particular city, but they are forced to pick up only 3 locations. By doing this, what's going to happen is, brokers are working in their comfort zones where they are confident to close the deal much faster. And what we want to do, the end state is, we want these brokers to stick to these locations or micro market, so that their eyes and ears are there in these local micro markets and they don't go anywhere else. So a user's request gets the maximum amount of attention, or the right amount of attention required to close a transaction. See, one of the critical areas before we talk about data privacy is, one of the things that existed in real estate is that today you look for a property, you give your name, number, and email ID in online portals, and what happens knowingly or unknowingly is your data gets shared with multiple brokers and portals, and that's where you get so many calls from brokers or other online players. So our product, right, as much as we are looking to address the most important thing, which is data privacy, yes, there's a lot of attention towards data privacy these days, and especially in the last 3 to 4 months, which kind of picked up the speed. One of our strongest features in the app itself is that the moment you get connected to a local broker, we do not share your mobile number or your email ID as well, though that data is collected by us. Now, what happens is, once you get connected to a local broker, you have an option to use our click-to-call facility, which basically is a cloud calling where your number is not shared and the broker's number is not shared with you, to make sure that each and every call gets monitored. And we also have something called a Brongo chat. In Brongo chat, be it be Brongo chat or be it be the click-to-call, both these gets monitored on a day-to-day basis, so that tomorrow, if there is an action point, let's assume there's a deliverable from your side or a user side or a broker side, we go ahead and our Brongo team gets involved and make sure that things happen. Like, for instance, broker says that he will show your site at 5 o'clock. And we have monitored the call. We know that he has to show your site at 5 o'clock. We go ahead and give him a reminder call and make sure that he's on time. If this happens outside the app, and if you choose to share your number, and this happens predominantly because you're comfortable with the broker, you want to share the number, then we will not be able to track it. So that's the reason why we urge users to stay in the platform and go ahead and communicate with the broker, so that we can have the entire thing controlled from our side. So we're talking about local brokers who've been, who are exposed to technology as much as they would want to. They are not fully exposed to it. Coming on to Brongo, the way we look at AI is, and that's something which we are very, very aggressively, working on, is we want to make sure that the broker has all the tools and the data to make sure that he closes the underlying transaction. Let's be open about it. One of the biggest challenges in Indian real estate market is it's an oversupplied market through and through across all cities. Now, if there's an oversupplied market, end consumer has enough and more options, right? If there are more options, then there's more confusion or so-called, more work that the local broker needs to put in. Given if we can kick in the AI, right? The local broker has so much more clarity in terms of what needs to be suggested, because these suggestive feeds calculate what is the client's requirement, right? What are the available stocks that can be given as a suggestive feed to the broker, and what will be the matching property and what will be not, what's the property that's not matching, so that the time spent on so-called researching about properties is reduced, and the most important thing is the time spent on spending time with the client and understanding the requirement increases. So net what we are looking at is AI which tracks brokers brokers movement or brokers thought process in terms of what properties do they have, what are the properties that they spend a lot of time in, right? Online footprint and offline footprint, combination of both, how it can help end user close their transactions. That's what we're looking at to begin with, but I'm sure this is a vast area that we can keep improving day by day, and that's definitely we're going to work on it as we go along. Yeah, it is inventory overhang, right? It is definitely a huge challenge. Oversupplied market, there's so many more options, substandard options. We have above the line options. At the end of the day, there's a lot of options. So as an end consumer, I'm very happy that I have so many options to choose from. But it also has a other angle to look at it. When you have so much of options, right, you sit on so much of inventory, right, especially from a builder's point of view, that increases the cost of holding. So oversupplied market is a challenge. But having said that, now there's one such regulation which is coming into the market, which is called RERA. Now RERA is it is affecting, or it is in the purview of the builder, right? And it also has the agent, which is there are certain do's and don'ts that agents also needs to do. As we look at this regulation kicking in, what I presume that is going to happen is there's going to be a control over the oversupplied market, right? Because there are so much regulations for the builders, there are so many points that needs to be adhered by the builders before they get the plan sanctions and so on and so forth. Hopefully that kind of puts a control, but it still will have an underlying issue, that is the oversupply. So over the period of time, we expect this to stabilize. I'm not saying it'll reduce, but we expect this to stabilize because of the RERA regulation which is kicked in.